Hi everyone. Thank you so much for having me here today. My name is Megan Diaz-Ricks. I was the former Director of Economic Development with Commonwealth Development, and I have moved into the position of Director of Communications and Fund Development. So I'm working on all of our communications, marketing, and fundraising work. And for this amazing organization, I'm so humbled and honored to be able to do that and tell our story. I think that our executive director, our esteemed executive director, Justice Castaneda, who is here with us today, really identified that I love to talk about Commonwealth. So I am here to talk about our organization with you all. And then I'm going to go through a really short presentation, just highlighting kind of the work that we're doing. And you are absolutely free to ask any questions at the end. And I will also leave my contact information with everybody. So let me share my screen here. Hopefully you can see this. All right.
Looks great. Right. Looks perfect.
Okay. So Commonwealth Development, some of you all may know us or have heard our name at least. We are a community development organization, kind of established in 1979. And our main office is currently located at 1501 Williamson Street, right on the Isthmus there. We also have our Southwest Madison office that was just opened back in July of last year. At 5802 Raymond Road. So you can find us at both locations doing this work. So a little bit about us. So our core mission is to support and preserve the vitality of neighborhoods in the Madison metropolitan area. So the way we think of it is our work serves as a foundational bedrock of healthy community and economic development. The projects that we do are aimed at improving housing and business climate in our neighborhoods. So we embed ourselves in the neighborhoods, and then we do our work of people first approach centered on racial equity and community level health improvement. So thinking about kind of what our core program areas are, we focus on small business incubation, financial fluency, education and job readiness. That is both for youth and adults. We own and operate and develop safe, stable housing in Madison. And that is for renters and also aspiring homeowners. So we kind of have a lease to purchase program and also all of our affordable housing developments. As of right now, we have almost 150 units of housing that we operate in Madison. And that housing is really aimed kind of towards families who are low to middle income, but mainly on the lower end of the spectrum. So folks who truly need safe and stable housing, usually at 30 to 60% of the county median income. We also look at community health approaches to citywide violence prevention efforts through all of our violence prevention initiatives. And we also promote sustainability of affordable land in Madison and Dane County. And so all of these kind of core program areas that we focus on, it's kind of a lot, right? All of that is kind of under the umbrella of violence prevention. So we see all of these things as a violence prevention effort. And that kind of has been a proven model for us because of our kind of humble beginnings. And so back in 1979, when this very amazing organization was started, we were embedded in the Williamson Marquette neighborhood, specifically Willie Street. And so Willie Street was kind of in a decline. And so what was happening was a lot of the industry was leaving that area and jobs were leaving as well with the industry. And so that kind of bred a lot of violence, unstable housing, And a lot of folks were kind of looking for what is the answer to this. And so our community members came together there and said, hey, I think that we need to build a micro economy here. We need to think of stabilizing all of these families that are already in the neighborhood as a violence prevention effort. And that means that we give small business owners opportunities here. We kind of develop cooperative housing. We develop affordable housing, multifamily housing. We look at home ownership opportunities. And then that kind of moved and developed into also jobs for our young people. So our youth who are in high schools, we started kind of the financial fluency education and job readiness programs for them. So as you can see, the Williamson Marquette neighborhood looks a lot different than it did back then. And that was because the small group of folks came together and made all of this happen. So I think that's a really amazing thing. And we're still going today. All of these initiatives are still growing. We're visioning what they can look like in the future. And it's really exciting stuff. So I just kind of wanted to kind of highlight what we're doing in each of our program areas right now. So in terms of housing, so as I said, we had our ribbon cutting at the end of July of 2021, but officially moved in families August of 2021 at what we called and named the Alliance at 5802 Raymond Road. And that was a project that took several years. It was on a plot of land that had formerly been a gas station. And so we did a lot of environmental testing. We made sure that the piece of land that our low-income families were living in was going to be safe. And so that took a lot of time. And there was also a lot of meetings with our neighbors. And that's one thing that I love about the organization is that we take the time to meet. We had several meetings with folks in the community and the neighbors that lived closest kind of to this development that we were looking at. And a lot of the concerns were things that we were able to fix and address, which is nice, something like parking or traffic. But what I loved the most was hearing that folks in the neighborhood knew who we were, they knew the work we did, and they respected it and said, we feel as though you can come in and really turn this neighborhood around and kind of provide a space for families and community to come. And we were already embedded in the neighborhood at the JFF office on Russet Road. And so we moved JFF, Early Childhood Initiative, ourselves, our housing, and then Children's Hospital of Wisconsin into this development. So I really encourage folks to come see it if you have not already. Our service providers are embedded in this development, and then we have 11 families there. So there are 11 units, and then we also have accessible units there for folks who have mobility issues or disabilities. And it's really an amazing thing, but it took years of work because we are a small fish, right, in a big pond of developers. And so we're really humbled for all of the folks who supported this and continue to support our housing development work. So we're thinking now moving into kind of a redevelopment phase of our already existing portfolio, which is really exciting because we can put more units. That means that more folks have opportunities to live in truly affordable housing in perpetuity. Our housing will always be affordable. We have very little market rate apartments. Most of them are for our lowest income families. And so we have a site identified in the Marquette neighborhood that could potentially have doubled or maybe I think even tripled the units there. And so that's something that we're looking at right now and hopefully will be happening in the near future. So when we look at new development, some folks may have heard about churches like Zion who want to have developers come in and maybe redevelop the site as their congregations are kind of getting smaller. and minimizing. And so we're looking to partner with folks in the community who have identified sites that we may be able to come and develop some affordable housing for folks. And we're really looking at neighborhoods. It's not the most affordable, right? Most of the for-profit developers can afford it, but we really want to develop affordable housing in places that have amenities, are accessible, around bus lines, transportation is good. There's a sense of community, and that's not the easiest thing, right? But we have an exceptional team. Ashley Golke, she heads our development operations, Justice, and then our finance director, Stefan. They work together with myriad folks to kind of make these developments happen. And so when you're a nonprofit developer, you have to be tactful, smart. You have to have a lot of finesse. It's not easy, but we know that there is a housing crisis everywhere. And I think that the work that we're doing is really, really important in making sure that folks have permanent affordable housing, that they know that housing will never turn into something that they're priced out of, right? So, and then Justice, who is here, he does a lot of work addressing kind of gentrification issues and accessibility issues, and really is a huge advocate for kind of our nonprofit housing folks, starting with them, and then our for-profit housing developers, thinking about their screening criteria. Who are they screening out that needs housing the most? And so that's kind of a lot of the advocacy work that we also do at Commonwealth, is showing folks that, the folks who may not look good on paper or however you want to say, absolutely are our greatest tenants. And we are really advocating that we take a look at the way that we're screening out families from our housing in Madison. So that's a really amazing thing. So moving on to our workforce development work. We have our youth workforce development and our adult workforce development sections at Commonwealth. So in youth workforce development, we have worked in partnership with the city of Madison on something called the Wanda Fulmore Youth Internship Program. And so that internship program, I believe it was started under Paul Soglin's administration. He wanted to have a program where we can create like a succession, a pipeline for young folks to get into city government, look at civic engagement. What does that look like for them? Being able to have youth voice in the projects that the city is doing. And so we recruit diverse youth. We look for youth who may have live in neighborhoods that are under-resourced in Madison or may not have access to other opportunities. All of them are phenomenal, amazing kids. I was able to work with them for 2-3 years under my tenure as the Director of Economic Development. And they are sharp. Like, they will give you a run for your money. And Justice will tell you that I was like left just like, wow, okay, y'all need, like, you can take my job, because obviously like we need their voice, and they are absolutely phenomenal. And so we place them at city departments every summer. And so we have about 25. We've had more in the past, but we're looking at about 25. And they get to be there all summer, and some of them are working full time. But we also did a really cool thing where we implemented a project into their internship. So we're looking at project-based learning opportunities, and kind of what started under my guidance, we did something where they were able to look at affordable housing development, and they actually created like a pro forma. They looked at plots of land that the city of Madison owned to put youth housing, where youth who may be transitioning out of foster care and group homes. What would that look like? What is the process of putting affordable housing on a piece of land, and how do you build it from the ground up? How do you look at a budget? How do you look at the area that it's in? How would it be scored? Because some of these projects are being scored. We were able to meet with planning, zoning, the CDD. We worked with a bunch of folks at the city of Madison so that they can see the difficult process of getting affordable housing development off of the ground. But they really advocated and used their own voice to say, hey, these are the things that we identify as a young person. Some of them had actually been in foster care or transitioned out of that system. And they said, these are the things that we would need for housing development for youth that are under this kind of criteria. So it was really amazing to see that. And that program continues to be strong. We're recruiting for it right now. And we will probably make our selections within the next few months, and that will start this summer. And then we have had the Youth Business Mentoring Program since 1991. And that is continuing, it continued through the pandemic virtually. And we're doing some in person now that the high schools are allowing us to be on site. And so we're doing financial fluency training with a group of young folks that apply for the program. And then we work with them to get their first job, which is really exciting. And so we mentor them through that. They get partnered with a mentor who is on our staff at Commonwealth. And then we help them through kind of the first few months of their job. And we hope that they keep it. If it's a temporary position, then we'll work with them if they want to look for something more permanent, or we'll transition them out of the program. But it's a really amazing opportunity for them to get their first job, but to also be supported through it, because I remember my first job, I had so many things that came up that I wish I had somebody to work through with me. I worked retail at the mall, at Easttown Mall in Madison. And there was so many things that I just was like, wow, I totally wish there was somebody there to guide me through how do I advocate for myself in this situation? How do I talk to my boss when I'm having, any type of issue? And so it's a really, really great program. And we also have a lot of small businesses in the community that take on our youth as well. And we're able to kind of give them like a subsidy so that the small business can kind of afford to employ our youth, which is really cool. So those subsidies, although they're not a huge amount, it's really, really super helpful for a small business to be able to have help from one of our youth who's being supported as they go through this job. And a lot of them will stay for a long time. And then something that's kind of developing at Commonwealth is our youth advisory panel. So we partnered with the Madison Police Department. We're working with them on an advisory panel to get youth voice to the police department. And it's been really amazing. We're getting new kids in it all frequently. And they really are so willing and open to lend their voice and say, these are the issues that we identify. This is why there might be a mistrust. This is why what we want to see for more engagement from the police department and partnership. Like, the police department want to know, what do you need in a partnership with us? We are in the community, youth are in the community. It's not just like play basketball with a cop. It's so much more. And the young folks in this group have been so open and transparent with their needs. And I think that's amazing. And so kind of as more develops out of this group, which is very new, we'll be able to kind of report out more. But I really just wanted to let folks know that's happening, because it's been such an amazing partnership with MPD. And we feel like it's something that can develop with more groups than just Commonwealth. So moving on to our adult workforce work. We have a job shop in Southwest Madison every Wednesday. And when folks in the community who are looking for jobs come there, they're able to get help with resumes. We can do mock interviews with them. We do job searches. We help them apply for jobs. And we continue to work with the same very vulnerable populations in Madison. Most are formerly incarcerated. The high majority are BIPOC, so Black, Indigenous, folks of color, homeless, and veterans. And so we're trying to get more partnerships going with folks who are working with veterans, as we're seeing that's a huge need. And we already work, I think the majority, maybe In 2020, our numbers were 84% of them were currently homeless at the time. And so that meant also doubled up. And so not just on the street, but doubled up or unstable housing. And so it's really been amazing, important work there. And I'm so happy that we are able to get our new office there. So we have kind of a stable presence in the community. And we have some amazing partners that work with us there, Joining Forces for Families being one. They are huge advocates for our program participants. And we're still doing our work of STEP, which is the Southwest Transitional Employment Program. And that's where we are able to we get a placement for somebody in the community. So that could be at the Holy Wisdom Monastery is a example. We can send folks to the Holy Wisdom Monastery to do some landscaping work, and we will pay them for up to 100 hours total. And then we kind of pay them the living wage that the city kind of calculates every year. And while they are being paid to do that work, we are helping them find a permanent stable job. And we're hoping that that first permanent stable job will be kind of parlayed into something paying $15 an hour or more. And that will be something that has a full-time opportunity with benefits. So we've seen a lot of folks being able to go through that succession of our kind of 3-job approach, as we call it. And it's been really amazing to see all of the transformations that happened through that, even through the pandemic. So that's been really great. And our future visioning for this work, we're engaging stakeholders right now. If you want to engage with us more or talk about the work you're doing or how you might be able to connect, you can always email me, and we're going to be having listening sessions, and I will invite you to those listening sessions, and we can kind of talk about what our vision is, like our longer term vision for Madison and the work we're doing. And then business incubation. So many of you may be familiar with this building right here in this picture. That is Main Street Industries. If any of you have been to Old Sugar Distillery or Giant Jones Brewery, or if you've bought a sourdough loaf from Origin Breads and picked it up there, we have so many amazing businesses in this building. It is one of my favorite places to go. And they also host the Madison Makers Market there. They just had a Valentine's Day market, which was at Old Sugar Distillery and Giant Jones. So this building kind of started out being manufacturing and light industrial, and it has moved to be that and more, which is what I love to see and hear. And so at Main Street Industries, we are almost fully leased. We haven't been fully leased in a few years. And so we're super, super excited that the building will be full and buzzing as it always is. And all through the pandemic, our businesses that are in this incubator have seen exceptional growth. And a lot of them love that this building is on the isthmus. It's accessible. It's on bus lines for folks. Their workers can get there easily. And also the rent is affordable. And so that's what that is kind of our mission, is to provide affordable space for folks in this high amenity, high access area, because you won't see a lot of spaces that are $10 per square foot anymore. You'll see more like 32. So, I think that that's really amazing. And the build outs that folks have done is quite exceptional. And folks like Giant Jones, they need more space. And so they actually absorbed our conference room space in this building because they need to grow more. And that's what we want to see. We're sad if folks leave, but we're so happy. It's a bittersweet moment because a lot of them leave because they need a larger space. So MSI has been amazing. Lots of different pivots through the pandemic, but now folks are just thriving and growing. They're seeing higher revenue. They're seeing worker retention, a lot of these great things that we love to hear. And so our startup first stage business building, the Madison Enterprise Center, which was in the first picture that I had up there, we are continuing to host a lot of these amazing startup businesses. A lot of them are being recognized. The Baked Lab and also Lily Forest Designs have all been recognized in different wedding magazines for being some of the best of, for florists and also for pastries and things for weddings. We have all, I mean, it runs the gamut of types of businesses in there in the Madison Enterprise Center. So we only have one vacant suite, which is amazing. There as well, that can host a lot more businesses than MSI. And those businesses stay with us for about 5 years, and then we hope that they graduate from the building into a larger space. So Madison Enterprise Center is kind of our startup first stage, and then Main Street Industries, that's kind of our larger space. And then you don't have to necessarily graduate from Main Street Industries. Some people have been there since it opened in 1997. So kind of looking at our future visioning, we're hoping that we can absorb a small piece of land that is behind MSI. It's kind of a abandoned railroad corridor. We want to be able to either expand our parking lot or expand the building, because we have so many events happening there and our businesses are welcoming people in the community. So it used to be kind of, you know, you only go there if you're working there, right? Like people are manufacturing there and then it's going out into the community, right? But now it's people are artisans there, or they're having events, or, you know, they want people to come into their space. And so we need parking for the community to come in. And so that's something that we're looking at, being able to either expand parking or make more space. And then kind of thinking about what another incubator could be, because we are identifying that between MEC, which is our kind of first stage, and Main Street Industries, there's a little bit of a gap where folks may not need as big of a space that we have at Main Street Industries, but they need something bigger than at Madison Enterprise Center. So we're kind of looking at this middle stage, like sweet spot, which hopefully is in our near future as well. And that's kind of all I have for you all. I'm sorry, I feel like I talked a lot there, but here's all of my contact information and a big picture of me. Only because I like this headshot. But this is all my contact information. Please feel free to message me, email me, take a look at our website. And if anybody has any questions at all, I am happy to answer them before we move on.
Yeah, thank you, Megan. This is amazing. I'm just sharing in Business Magazine 40 under 40. If you had any questions of the work that you're doing, my God, thank you. Thank you so much for sharing all of this information. I feel like I knew certainly through Justice some of the work that the organization is doing, but looking at details is pretty amazing. I feel almost like tired just hearing all of the impact that you're creating. So there's a lot of things happening in terms of like, are there possibilities to connect and how to collaborate, right? So any questions, any comments from anyone?
Yes, I have a question.
Go ahead, Ron.
Absolutely.
You know, I think that what the most importance to me is once we listen to these presentations, how can we get involved if we're interested? How can you help activate some of us both on this committee, and how could we maybe activate some other DMI members to serve as volunteers, to do something that helps us go from listening and getting kind of enthused to how do we really make a difference?
Absolutely. I think that we have like the smaller opportunities to volunteer are serving as somebody who can be a mock interviewer for our young folks who are in our programming, or helping us with events that we're doing, or we're always looking for volunteers for what we see as kind of our gala. So a lot of people have their gala where you're wearing a ball gown, and our gala is a Willie Street Fair. So sometimes people won't be wearing anything. So you can wear whatever you want to the Willie Street Fair. Doesn't have to be a tuxedo. So we are looking for volunteers there for sure. And we also have our job shop where we would love folks from the community to come in and serve as somebody who can help with resumes, or helping somebody do a mock interview who maybe has never interviewed before in their life. And so those are kind of some of our smaller opportunities. I would say in terms of looking at something that's a priority, that needs to be a priority, is kind of policy. And so that's something that we really look at at Commonwealth is how are policies impacting our ability to do this work. And so we really need folks who are going to advocate and go to bat for Commonwealth in terms of looking at what needs to change for zoning, what needs to, like, how can we look at changing the landscape of what affordable housing is. And so I probably have been to so many city council meetings, it's like not even funny. And I stay there like till 3 a.m. like a lot of folks. But when these things are coming up, if you connect with us, or if we have a project that's on the ground and we need folks to advocate for us, we need a lot of support. And there will be people who come and speak against affordable housing opportunities, and there will be folks who want to support it. And so we will always have a call to action, like this is how you can support our project. So looking out for that. I don't know if Justice is still here. I don't think so. But I was going to say, if you had anything, oh, there you are. If you have anything that you can think of for folks. No.
You covered it. That
Yeah.
that was really good.
Yeah.
So Megan, I'm putting my name in the chat, or I should say my email address to you.
Absolutely.
Feel free to contact me, and I'd encourage others to do the same thing.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I think that there's so many connections with the update that we have about the internship initiative. I wonder, I mean, that's why I was thinking, like, there are so many connections that maybe we need to really think through how we move forward with some of the details. So maybe it is a great opportunity, I think, to connect with Megan, think about not only the internship initiative, but also the housing. I mean, learning, and that's why we're here, right? The Inclusiveness Committee, really thinking through what is that DEI lens that we need to continue to learn, but also what is the action? What else can we do?
Yeah.
So thank you. Anything else? Others? Kristen?
Yeah, my name is Kirsten Houghton. Megan, I used to, in 2005, I think it was auditor for Yahara River Apartments.
Oh, okay.
So I worked with the original team. I just wanted to thank you and Justice for continuing this work. I still work in affordable housing and the nonprofit world, but I just remember that and how excited that original group that started Commonwealth was to have that project.
Yeah.
It's good to see all the things you continue to do, because I know I was kind of there at that beginning of that. And it's just great to see.
Absolutely. And thank you for your work on that. And, you know, we had our first development since Yahara Riverview just last year. So it's been quite a few years since we had a new development. So I'm really happy to see that.
Jason?
Yeah, first of all, thank you, Megan, for a fantastic presentation. And a huge congratulations on your new position, and congratulations, Justice, on the great decision. So congratulations. Wow, I've heard your presentation before, but every single time I learn more and how deeply you are all involved in the community. So a huge thank you for all of us. I would love to talk about the Main Street Enterprise and the industrial, but it's great to hear that you want to expand, that you only have one vacancy in each spot, and how important that is for downtown to have the Quinton Apples and the Potter's Crackers, and the Giant Joneses, and all of these, some manufacturing happening downtown, this innovation that's happening. What does that sort of expansion? How do you get more space, since you seem to be bursting out at the seams with only one vacancy in each location?
Yeah, well, some of the developers are actually making way for us to maybe look at that location as being hybrid of both affordable housing and commercial space. I don't know if that can happen. That is what I would love to see. But I think an expansion just in terms of space what we want to see. So if we're able to expand and kind of absorb some land, or if we're able to expand somewhere else, our footprint somewhere else in the community, something I think in our vision is our businesses want to welcome the community in, and it's not the way that the space is right now is because it was designed to be something different. But now as we move and grow and see that we're really wanting to invite community members to come in and be able to take part in an experience. Folks are creating experiences. When you go to Old Sugar Distillery, it's not just, you know, like they're making the product there. You can interact with it now, and you can get a cheese board, right? You can sit at their amazing space, or you can be at an event. And so I think that our businesses are really wanting us to look at how we can make it more of a community-centered space, kind of like a market or something that's similar to Garver, or something, you know, similar to the markets that are in Milwaukee, right? I mean, though, that's kind of what we're hoping to see. And it doesn't have to necessarily be from that space, but if we're looking at a new space, we would want it to be more community-centered, where the community is invited in, and it's not just the manufacturing center, because that's really, really important for us, because that builds our you know, presence in the community. So yeah. And Justice, I don't know, you're also, I know that you are the vision maker.
You captured it. I mean, you know, I think you got it. I mean, you did a really good job.
Well, thank you for that work. And I gotta say, if you ever get a chance, get a tour. I've never been on a tour with Megan. I'm sure it'd be great, but Justice, I've been on a couple tours with him, and just to go around the space and see what's happening in this, you know, just right in the heart of downtown. It's really pretty cool. And congratulations on the Raymond project. I can't wait to see what you all are doing next in the Marquette neighborhood. So know that we're here to partner on anything and everything we can.
Thank you so much.
Other questions? Other questions? Comments? Did I do okay with the time, with the whole with the waiting time? Great, Megan, this is amazing. I hope that we will connect. Hopefully you want to join our committee on a regular basis and have this conversation more often. I'm thinking about the listening sessions and how we can share with the DMI network, just to start, and what else can we do to assist in sharing that information. Even maybe it will be worth to think about, you know, what other opportunities to present some of these information to the broader network. That would be great, with the board or with other downtown events.
Absolutely.
Looking forward to that.
Yeah, me too.
So please, stay for a little longer if you can. We will have a couple of reports, and we'll start with the amazing work of the Beyond Compliance Committee. Jason, if you don't mind starting.
Not at all. So yeah, the Beyond Compliance Task Force is moving ahead yet with planning around an accessible design event. We had a small but mighty group meet in late January. We moved our meeting earlier rather than later. And so we were able to talk a bit more about potential formats. It's feeling more like, just with our first go round for such an event, that it'll feel more like a panel discussion around how to improve accessibility and inclusion with people with disabilities into design, and of course the implementation, the build, etc. Looking at potentially late July for such an event. Right now it sort of feels like it's going the way of a virtual event itself, with maybe something in person or hybrid for a networking opportunity. So we're going to be meeting in the beginning of March for our next regularly scheduled meeting, and get some of these final details nailed down so we can get working forward. Jason Ilstrup has been gracious to talk about his what the DMI staff might be able to do with helping with the logistical planning around an event like this, and which is a big help since we're all volunteering our time otherwise on this task force. So yeah, I'm excited that we'll have even more updates on it in our March Inclusiveness Committee meeting. But we're still moving ahead with it, and we've also just kind of additional piece. We continue to have conversations around what does our outcome measurement look like, and how do we start to really understand the effect and the impact of the work we've been doing the last few years. We've had some really good projects and some activities, and there's more things we want to do. But we really need to have a good understanding of, are we actually making a difference? Are we seeing change as a result of the work we've been doing? And I think there's some things, but we know we have work to do. But to be able to really measure and quantify what that looks like is some work to be done. So I would see that being as the event planning progresses, we'll have more conversation around how we measure the outcome, and there'll be more projects and more activities on the way. We've got lots of things to accomplish yet.
Thank you, Jason. I really think, and of course, I apologize if I just don't know this, but I wonder if, as you're saying, once that more information, that there's an opportunity to bring that to this committee for feedback, right? Maybe we can share a little bit ahead of time and then have some meaningful conversations. I don't know if that's something that has happened before. I'm assuming so, but I think it will be important to continue to remember that we're part of this committee, right? That we are collaborating together and we're part of the same kind of umbrella, if you will, or that's the way that I've seen it. So I wonder if others have any thoughts around that. Or Jason, if you want to.
Yeah, I think it's great. We've talked before, there's the intersectionality of this work and people with disabilities and accessibility being part of inclusiveness. And sometimes we get so busy in the work we're doing in the task force, it ends up being report outs and we're not engaging. Even in the task force itself, we've got a growing list of people that are part of the task force. And sometimes it's the core group that keeps working on things, and we got to find ways that we bring more people into that mix. And so I think that is also an issue for the broader Inclusiveness Committee, which is our task force is a part of. So that would be great to do that too. And then something you've said reminded me too, another part we've been working on is engaging other partners, potential partners who are architects, designers, folks like that. Jason Ilstrup's been doing a lot of work on that side of things to make those connections so we can add more folks from those sectors into the planning. And one piece I'll just add at the end here is that the idea here is really for the voice of both the professionals, the designers, and the voice of people with disabilities, the users, to have really an equal voice in this dialogue, in this forum. So it isn't one speaking over the other or talking down to another. We want that equity in the perspective, because that lived experience is just as valuable as that professional experience.
Absolutely. I mean, I think that's something that we need to emphasize, right? Like how we are maybe bringing down barriers, right? And changing the systems and the way the systems are working. So hopefully that's something that we can also learn in the committee or in other subcommittees that we're working on. Jason?
Yeah, I just want to thank you for that comment, Brenda, about trying to bring the conversation, because, Jason's, sorry, there's so many Jasons in this conversation. The other Jason is right. Sometimes we get kind of in this work and then don't focus, but I gotta say the group has expanded. And then I had a conversation today with Willie Street Co-op, one of the senior managers there. They started hearing about our work from Tanya Ibarra. So, a great connection through Step Up Equity, and they are super excited. So Jason, I just want to say publicly, this work that you're doing is so important, and we're behind you. And however we can open it up to more people, because every time we open it up to more people, people are just like, oh, wow, yes, I want to be involved in this. So keep up the great work. I gave all the credit to you, by the way, to Jason Closure.
That is great.
Thanks for the update.
Yeah, there's 3 Jasons, sorry. Jason cubed.
Jason. Thank you, Jasons. We'll wait for the additional update for next agenda and see if we can create the space that we need to. So thank you. We'll do more. And then the subcommittees, if Ron, if you don't mind starting with the internship initiative.
Hey, Brenda. Well, as many of you know, we spent the month of January talking to what I call our constituency group. So we spoke with the executive committee, the board of directors, this committee. We got feedback, we listened, we're making some adjustments. And we have another important meeting tomorrow where we're trying to kind of finalize with our key partners, that being a representative from Madison College and from Madison Metropolitan School District, just how the connection point's going to work between the DMI companies who might be interested in an intern and the parties who will be providing us the young people who would want these jobs. So our intent is still to look at the month of March to roll this out and kick that off and move forward in contacting our top 20 DMI employer prospects. I want to thank, I think Ashley's been on our committee. Kyle, you've made some good suggestions for us, but we've had a good group of people working on this for the past year. Thank you.
Great. Sorry, Ron, you cut off a little bit for me, so I don't know for the rest, but any questions or any comments? If not, then we can start with Kyle. Thank you, Kyle, for waiting.
Oh, yeah, no problem. Actually, I just got back from a leave, so I think our group needs to have a meeting here before we have an update to share with the whole group.
Absolutely, no problem. We just want to make sure that we are consistent in terms of what we're sharing and how we're moving forward. Absolutely, with the patience and or flexibility that this is a volunteer group, so I completely understand. Any other comment, any other question?
Yeah, I have one because Missy is now on and she wasn't here for the earlier update about the book club. Missy, season 2 is even more addicting and even more aggravating, but even more addicting with this land. I just want to say a thank you for your help, acknowledge, you know, what a special conversation we're having. And I cannot wait for tomorrow. So if anyone's interested in our book club, please let us know. But Missy's been a long time member, Ron, Brenda, lots of great people, Patricia and many people. So just thank you for bringing this land forward.
Yeah. And I didn't even, it was, whose idea was it to start this book club? Was it, oh, his name escapes me, I'm on the spot.
Who was it? I don't remember exactly who it was. We'll give you and Brenda all the credit.
Okay, there you go. We'll take it on behalf of whoever's really good idea it was. But so I'm glad to hear that you listened to the podcasts.
Oh, I didn't finish 8 yet. I'm in the middle of 8, so no spoilers.
Okay. Yeah. So just really quickly, just to inform everybody. So we have this wonderful book club, and we started out reading some books, or most of us did. I unfortunately wasn't able to finish all of the books just due to time. And so this last go around, we did a podcast, actually 2. Well, one podcast with 2 seasons, and it was really surrounding the Supreme Court's decision on McGirt, which ruled that half of Oklahoma was in fact Indian country. And then season 2 goes on to talk about how the Indian Child Welfare Act is also affecting tribes. So it's an addicting, and actually I have never heard anyone explain the relationship of the tribes and the federal government and what classifies Native Americans as a minority. It is not race-based, but rather political, by members of a sovereign nation. So the way this attorney, Rebecca Nagel, does this podcast and explains the relationship that the tribes have with the federal government and just in this country is incredible. It just lays it all out for you. And so anyway, the book club is a fantastic group of folks. So hopefully some of you can take time and join us on Friday mornings from 8 to 9. And it's not every Friday morning, but we have wonderful discussion.
That's great. Thank you, Missy, for the update. And then Jason just posted the link. So if you want to see it, listen to it, even if you're not able to join the book club, And it is happening this Friday, right? Tomorrow at
Yeah,
8?
correct. Tomorrow morning. If anyone's interested, just let me know. We can get you on the list. We'd love to. We have not decided on our next book yet. So if you are interested, we can send that information out to you. This group has read, Ibrahim Kendi, to a graphic novel, to done a podcast, to an excellent book. The last book, Mountain Wolf Woman. Yep. Just amazing different stories. So please do join us if you'd like to send me a note. Doug, I think you'll love it as a lawyer. Lots of great stuff. My former professor, Kevin Washburn, is on it too as well. So it's really some interesting stuff. Note, who put it in the chat? Probably Madeline. I can't see who it was.
J-Firm was.
Brenda did. Brenda is repping DMI. A couple of great events we have coming up. The New Face, What's Up Downtown Breakfast. It's a hybrid with Matt Wachter, who's the Director of Planning, Economic Development, and Community Development here in the city of Madison. Will be with us a week from today at 7:45 a.m. at the Edgewater Hotel or on Zoom, 7:45 at the Edgewater if you're live, and then, 8 o'clock on Zoom. And then we have a behind the scenes, which I think is already sold out. Madeline's not on camera. We have a behind the scenes at the NIC, which is the new student health facility, which that student health facility does not look like the one that I went to college at, which was in a basement, about 2 sets of weights, which I never used. But anyway, it was a good idea, nonetheless. Absolutely nobody laughed at that joke, but I'll take it.
We did. So any other final comment? I hope this is a format that it's okay. A few presentations. There's going to be days that we're going to just go over updates and the work that we're doing, but certainly learning from others. I mean, I think that brings a lot of good resources to our conversation. So hopefully we'll keep that. I know that the next time maybe we're going to have Aaliyah Stevenson, maybe
for the Center for Black Women's Wellness. Yep.
Yes. So looking forward to that new DMI board member as well. So more to come on that. And if
Brenda, I have one more note for you.
Yes.
Megan, Mark Richardson sent a note saying he was bummed that he couldn't hear your presentation. He's our board chair. He was unfortunately had to go to the Monona Terrace board today, but he says hello to everyone. So hello from our most recent past chair and our current board chair, Mark Richardson.
That's right. Thank you for sharing.
He says thanks for the presentation.
Of course, thank you.
Thank you. And now, and I remember one thing that I was going to say, Megan Diaz-Ricks. I remember reading your name when you used to work here at South Madison Partnership. I think you had an internship here.
Yeah, I was the first intern there.
Isn't that amazing? So I was reading that information, and then so cool. I was kind of forgetting the name right until I saw you again and saw your name. So thank you for all the work that you have been doing in community for a long, long time.
Yeah.
Thanks. Great. So time to go. Thank you so much for being here and your comments. We'll see you next time.
Bye.
Adios.